conversation also with another SRC president, this time from the KNUST. You may have remembered that sometime last year, I think in November, we had a big conversation with student leaders, and he was on the Zoom, coming all the way from Kumasi. Now he's here live and direct, looking all sharp. Frank Owusu. Frank, good morning.
Good morning, Kafu.
It's really good to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
And I understand school is still in session.
Yeah, it is.
So we appreciate you coming here to be here live with us.
Very
all
well.
The way from Kumasi to be
Very
here.
well.
Okay, all good?
Oh, all is fine. All is well.
All right, what's happening on campus in Kumasi?
KNUST is fine. I mean, the best university in Ghana, the best in West Africa, arguably one of the best in Africa. Everything is fine. We've had our academic process going on smoothly. God willing, we are starting our exams next week, and as we are all aware, we'll be going on recess on Thursday to enjoy the Easter festivities. So far so good. It's peaceful, academic work smoothly, and extracurricular activities are also going on fine.
Okay. What's it like to be a president of the SRC at KNUST?
For your information, KNUST is the most populous university in the whole of Ghana. We are numbering over 100,000. And you see, Kumasi is the center of the epicenter. Everything happens in Kumasi. And looking at where we are coming from, the fact that in the year 2018 we had a demonstration that was quite destructive, something that we don't even want to remember, and all that, there is quite a number of pressure being an SRC president, but it's quite exciting because, I mean, as SRC president, you are leading intellectuals. So, of course, there will be criticisms here and there, but your ability to navigate through these difficult times goes a long way to keep you good, especially if you are president and you are faced with challenges and you're able to overcome those challenges. You solve problems for students. Students come to you, they have conversations with you, and then you're able to give them solutions to their problem. At the end of the day, you feel good. But as I said, just like any good thing, it comes along with its own challenges.
What are some of the key challenges that you had to grapple with as SRC president?
Yes.
KNUST.
The SRC is built on two main foundations. One, welfare, two, representing students. Representing students, you being the council member of the student rep on the council. You are always representing the needs of students. But then when it comes to welfare, I mean, in the nation we find ourselves, you agree with me that not a lot of people are well-to-do. So issue of finances, students usually have issues when it comes to the payment of their school fees. Even after paying their school fees, students have issues when it comes to accommodation. Because you're looking at the prices of accommodation off campus is quite exorbitant in Kumasi.
What's the range?
Usually, if you want a standard hostel, a 4-in-a-room hostel, which is a bit close to campus, you should be budgeting around 4,000 to 5,000
per semester.
No, for
the year, for academic, 4 to 5,000.
Yeah, 4 to 5,000
for that room.
Yeah, that's 4 in a room.
Which means they will all split it.
No, each person is paying 4 to 5,000.
What?
Yes.
What's inside the room, man?
Normally, most of them are self-contained, so it's a single room with a balcony probably, and then a kitchen, and then a place of convenience.
Okay, a toilet
and bath. Yes,
everything there.
Everything there.
4,000 to 5,000 per student.
Yeah, that's even on the low side.
Oh, what is the high side?
Oh, you can get as high as 12,000, but that is 2 in a room. Some 11,000, some 8,000, some 7,000. So accommodation is actually a big problem when you come to KNUST.
So the 12K one, is it like some kind of 5-star facilities? What's inside, man?
It's a hostel. You see, the main problem that has caused this rise in price is the issue of demand and supply. The university has increased in number, but then we couldn't get a correlating increase in the provision of accommodation. Because of that, we have people taking advantage of the system and making enterprise of it.
12K?
Yes.
That's 1,000 CDs a month
for
per person.
No, a month for
yeah.
8 months.
You see?
8 months.
12K?
Yes, please.
Wow.
Students are paying that, not workers.
AC in the room inside?
Oh, some have AC, some don't. But usually the ones closer to campus are more expensive. So it depends on the proximity. So the more closer it is to campus, the more expensive the price is.
Really?
Yes.
How does that work? So if you get if you are assigned a room to one of the halls, you must count yourself privileged, right?
Yes. I mean, so everybody wants to be on campus for the sake of security, cost, and everything. So
let's talk about security too. I mean, for those who are off campus, how far is the farthest hostel from KNUST?
Now the university has extended so much that people stay as far as Ejoso, and they come from Ejoso to Tech.
In terms of kilometers, that's
huge. About 7-8 kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are paying, and then the Jusu accommodation will be like how much?
For just like 2,000 can get. I mean, some people stay at Jusu, they do Akon, Kentin Chrono,
for 2K.
So no, you see, so there's the point. If KUST is, let's say, here at Tech, we have adjoining communities. So those adjoining communities can talk about Aidiase, Bomso, Aija, Kentin Chrono. Those are the ones closest to it. And then beyond Aidiase, we have the new site communities. Talk about the Duakon, you go to Kote, and then you. So the farther you go, the cheaper the hostel prices. But then the ones that are very close, and then they have a certain level of class. The ones that have everything in it, I mean, they are quite expensive. But notwithstanding, the school is also.
What is everything?
Oh, I mean, the security high, the services they provide is okay. The facilities are top notch. Yeah, those are the ones I think.
I just checked. So Ejisu to KNUST is like 10 kilometers.
Yes, so 8 to 10 kilometers.
And then, of course, is there a shuttle service? Is there a bus that takes
so
people
for
from
that
Ejisu?
one, you have to come alone. So you have your own sort of transportation.
How early are the earliest lectures on campus?
8.
And the latest?
6. So it closed at 6.
So if you lived in Ejisu, you'd have to wake up very early and come to. And then if you had a last lecture at 6, then you have to now take a vehicle back.
Yes. But the students at Ejisu are very few.
Very few.
I mean, those are the ones who just cannot afford. So they have like 1,000, 5,000. Those who are very less privileged.
Man, I would live in Ejisu and save some money.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So accommodation is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Okay.
And honestly, for accommodation, it's not only KUST. I can speak on authority that most public universities in Ghana are facing issues of accommodation. Our friends, my colleagues in UCC, they complain the same. My colleagues in Legon, I can even say it's worse. Yes. Accommodation has been an issue. And I don't know whether you've been following the news. I mean, Nooks, somewhere last week and last 2 weeks, they've been making so much noise, of which I'm part of, that the Ministry of Finance should uncap Get Fund. Because Get Fund was established basically to finance our education. But now we have a situation whereby when the money is coming to Get Fund, instead of they channeling it into education infrastructure, they're using it for other things. So we have a pot of money, so let's assume 100,000 Ghana cedis comes into it.
Yeah.
The finance minister will tell you, okay, I'm giving education ministry 35 to 40%, and then the other funds will go into other activities which are not education connected. And we are saying that the backbone of every nation is education. So if indeed we want to make sure we build our nation and build it well, we make education accessible and affordable, then they should uncap Get Fund. Because, I mean, I believe all of us here have gone to school. And in most of the senior high schools we find ourselves in most of the basic schools and even the universities, there are some buses, some infrastructure, some buildings that you see the inscription funded by Get Fund. Nowadays, don't see these things. You come to KUST, most of the new buildings springing up on campus are from IGF.
Internally generated funds from the campus.
Yes, because the funds are not coming because we have our funds being capped. So we have tax that is meant basically for education, but when the monies come, it's capped. So we give us a portion, and the others are channeled into other activities. So so you realize that we have our fees going up. You realize that we are not having enough accommodation facilities. So private individuals are coming in to bid, and when they come, these are businessmen. We can't force them to price it at a price which may not inure to their benefit as businessmen. So that is the problem we are facing on campus.
Are more hostels springing up?
A lot, because it's a lucrative business. The universities are expanding. They're expanding it. I mean, we're having more lecture theaters coming on campus, and because we're not having a corresponding number in accommodation, the private individuals are making up for it. And whenever they build, they also make sure they get their profits.
100,000 students is a whole town. Yeah. It's a constituency.
Yeah, KUST is a very populous community.
Which constituency does KUST fall under? Oforikrom.
Yes.
Okay, so I must imagine that during the election period, you have the candidates coming over to come and win your votes.
You do.
100,000 people. That's how much are the annual SRC dues these days?
Also, so for KUST, each student pays 36 cedis.
Wow, that's a big budget there. 36 times 100,000.
Oh, so 36. The SRC, we don't take the dues of GRASAC. So GRASAC is out.
GRASAC is the Graduate
Students
Association of Ghana. So if you take out GRASAC, how many people are you looking at?
So SRC is looking at something around 70 to 80,000. So GRASAC is out, and then
This ideal.
Distance to the Institute of Distant Learning.
Okay.
Yes, so ideal dues is also out. So
okay.
They also have their own dues. So we usually take the dues for the regular students.
Which is in numbers, how many are you looking at?
70 to 80,000.
It's still a lot. I mean, what do the funds end up being used for?
Oh, student welfare activities.
Okay.
Yes, and sometimes infrastructure activities, legacy projects. So in as much as the university is also building infrastructure, the SRC in our own small way, we build some infrastructure.
So do you, this is 70,000 people times 36 is like 2.5 million.
Yes, please.
So who handles this money?
The SRC president.
Which is you. You have a budget of 2.5 million.
Together with my executive, so yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And so what are some of the things that you spent the money on?
Yeah, so when you come into office, there are some administrative expenses that, of course, you have to incur. So we have a budget for the administrative expenses, and then we organize program for students, capacity building program for students. So we have Wukom Connect, the Wukom the Women's Commission, a seminar to build the capacity of students. Sometimes we organize skills training, whereby we bring people on board to come and teach people some skills. Sometimes we go on Congress, News Congress, USAC Congress. When we are going for these activities, we have to pay for them. As president, there are quite a number of infrastructure projects that I want to do. One, we are building a shuttle stop at one of the entrances of the school, that in bus stop is something I've started. Two, if you come to a place, we have an SRC hostel, which was built about 10 years ago. The entrance of the hostel is nothing to write home about. We want to make sure we develop the entrance of the hostel. So as an SRC, is part of something that we want to do. Three, we are partnering with the company to build a sitting area for students, because looking at the numbers, we have a library, but then the library is not that big. Yes, we are building another one, but then we also providing study areas for students where people can go and sit and learn. As part of my vision as a president, I want to also build study areas for students. We also provide support for students. I remember last year, some students were deferred in Kenya University because of their inability to pay school fees. So the SRC came in to support some of them who genuinely weren't able to pay. So there are quite a number of welfare activities and all that we do to help and support students.
You're almost like a governor of a little state, you know, handling this budget and then building projects.
Yes.
You said the SRC built a hostel some years back.
Yes, please.
Any plans to build more? Because it looks like accommodation is a big deal.
As we speak, the plans are far advanced. And so if you look at our school fees schedule, we have the SRC dues, we have the SRC development levy.
How much is that?
54 Ghana cedis. It's something that was levied years back. That helped us to build the hostel. So what happened is that we went for a loan, we built the hostel, we levied students, and we use the money to pay off the loan. As we speak, by God, we've been able to pay off the loan. The levy is still there. We have plans to extend the hostel. So we are planning on building an already existing SRC hostel that we have.
How many people does the existing hostel take?
980.
And then the extension will take how many more?
300.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah, the room was not built in, so small. We are doing our best.
Yes, KNUST was not built in a day.
Yeah.
You do so. Frank Owusu is the SRC president of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Just telling us exactly what it is to be an SRC president. He's here for the headlines. We have a segment here called What's on Your Mind. I don't know whether you're watching our show, but basically you can just, anything that is in the news or has not been reported in the news that you would want to speak a little bit on. So what's on your mind this morning, Frank?
What's on my mind? I always ask myself whether as a country we are really serious with the youth.
Okay.
Because my point is this. I am an economic student. But I love history. A nation that does not know its history doesn't know its roots. And if you read history, you realize that most countries, most civilizations that came up and changed the face of humanity and the face of history, the people who engineered and steered the affairs of these civilizations and progress and development were young people. From religion to invention to science to technology, young people. Christ was 30, 33, he was done with his work. You look at David was 18, Daniel and co. These people are young because the younger you are, you have a fresh blood. You don't have so much responsibility, quote unquote. So you are able to reason and do things in a bolder manner. But then you come here in this part of our world and then we see young people as people who are overly enthusiastic, people who have red hot blood. And we are always relegated to the background of decision making. I am of the view that we should be serious when it comes to this youth project. Because, I mean, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg was a young man below 30 when he invented Facebook. I mean, Bill Gates was younger when he brought about the program that brought about Microsoft. I can give you a lot of people. So we should be able to invest into young people. Yes, we have the government each and every year coming out with youth projects, but then you realize that some of these projects are not even sustainable. So one person comes, he establishes one thing, another person comes, he wants to change it. So we don't have a well-defined, sustainable youth project that is aimed at training our youth for how to take up leadership responsibilities. Even the constitution of our nation states that you have to be 40 plus before you become president. But countries that have bigger economies are having younger people leading them. I mean, France, a 31-year-old led France. I mean, we have younger people. So my point is that let's be serious with this youth conversation. Let's bring young people into the conversation of the nation. After all, we are the ones who will be bearing the consequence of the decision this current crop are taking.
Does it bother you that African leaders are senior citizens past the retirement age?
It really does. It really does. Because I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and then he said something that if you have a very young child at home, sometimes study the child very well. You realize when a child is younger, he or she takes some very crazy quote-unquote decisions. The child can jump from here to there, but you might not jump because you are too careful. But the child is daring. And that is one of the basic traits of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur should be a risk taker.
The child can also hit his head on the floor and get a fracture.
So these are opposite sides of the coin, but they have to take the lesser evil. So if you don't take the risk, you cannot get something out of it. You can take the risk. When you take it, maybe you might end up getting a fracture. But what if you don't get a fracture?
Yeah.
So that has been the basic attitude of every entrepreneur. And that has been the attitude of people.
So you want to see more young people involved in the affairs of the state?
More young people.
The presidential limit now is 40 years old. Yeah. Where, if you had the power, where would you like to see the age limit?
Maybe 25.
25 years old to run Ghana.
Kafi, I read about.
There's no 25-year-old in anywhere in this country that running their country.
So the point is that we'll set the limit. You see, the 40 years, people
it's the minimum.
Yes, people don't start nurturing their ambition before 40. Because it is 40, usually people start coming out after they are 40. You don't see people starting to contest at 39. They start coming out after 40. So if we set the minimum to be like 25, people will start coming out after 25. If we set it to be 30, people will start coming out after 30. Because for me, if I read about the history of Africa, I realize that the people who I call the liberation fathers, who won independence for most African countries, were younger. Most of them were below 50. Yeah. Those people who went for the Manchester Conference in 1945, Tafawa Balewa, Obafemi Awolowo, Kwame Nkrumah, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Hastings Banda, Samora Machel, all these people were young people. They were having fresh minds. They went for the conference led by W. Du Bois and George Padmore. They said, no, let's go back and let's take our continent from the whites. And they went back, they came back, and we all saw what happened. Now I'm asking myself that if a conference like that is to be organized and this current crop of leaders are to go, I always say to myself that in the 60s, we had political liberation. In the 21st century, we need economic liberation. If a conference like this, like the one that was organized in 1945, is organized, will we get the same energy like the 1945 batch had to come back and say, okay, now we have gone to have a resolution. We are going back to Africa to get for ourselves economic liberation? I don't even think the willpower will be there, because these are people who are actually enjoying their retirement. So there's no zeal to do something quote-unquote crazy to take back the continent. Because the 1945 people were younger, they had fresh blood, we want to do it. So they came and, I mean, when Nkrumah came, some people were saying, self-governance in the shortest possible time. He said, "No, I can't wait." Same applies to
the hot blood. Eh?
The hot blood. So I'm asking that we also have another crop of leaders here. If we are to have an AU conference right now, and then they all go and they say we have gotten the political liberation, can these people also come with this hot blood and say that we also want economic liberation? So we are also going to take some radical decisions to get ourselves out of this economic colonization that we find ourselves.
The argument that a lot of people make is that, yes, it's good to have young people, but if you're comparing the young leaders to the young leaders of back in the 40s and 50s, those people prepared themselves. What preparations? And there was no government that was because the colonial government didn't have any preparing young people to come and take over from them. So they were self-starters, they were self-motivated, they prepared themselves. The argument now may be that the young people, are they preparing themselves for the future?
Thank you very much, Kafi. So the point is this. If somebody is going on a journey and there are no hurdles, there are no obstacles, there are no impediments, there are no setbacks, there is nothing blocking your view, you can go freely without any impediments. But then even before you starting a journey, you know that there is somebody standing in front of you who wouldn't even allow you to go. There are systems and structures that have been placed in front of you that wouldn't allow you to freely flow. You might naturally even be demotivated to even start the journey. But then if you know that the system has been set in such a way that if you push yourself, you will get the necessary push you need to get to where you want to go, the motivation will be there. But then if there is no motivation, there is so much blockage, it's not supporting, there are so much hindrances, you wouldn't be motivated to go on the journey. Okay. So I think that those people were motivated because there were not so many hindrances there. I mean, even during those times, there were no leadership. Okay. So they were the ones who brought the leadership. Now there is leadership. And the leadership is serving as a blockade to the young generation wanting to come in.
All right. I'm just intrigued about the age of African presidents, and I just decided to do a little search to see what the ages of our youngest presidents are. So in 10th position, we have, let's say, the third of Lesotho, age 59. 9th position, Adama Barrow, Gambia, age 57. 8th position, we have Foreign Nyasingbe, just close to us, he's 56. 7th position, we have Mr. George Weah, 55. William Ruto, Kenya, 55. Mswati III, Swaziland, 54, is in 5th position. 4th position, Evariste Ndayishimiye, Burundi, 54. In 3rd position, Andre Rajolina, Madagascar, 48. 2nd position, Abiy Ahmed, Ethiopia, 46. And the youngest African president is a Kumeka. Ibrahim Traore, age 34. That's not good news, is it?
At all. At all.
The youngest man is somebody who came to power through the barrel of the gun.
He has been waiting, nobody's giving, so he has taken the...
No, is that what you're suggesting in Ghana?
Not at all.
Thank you very much for that.
Not at all.
From one young man to another young man who is the SRC president of GIMPA, Emmanuel Andrews Samini. I'm sure that's his name on his documents, but we all know him as Samini. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good to have you here.
Great.
How's GIMPA, man?
It's been great so far, so good.
Okay.
I have a few more. I think I have a few weeks to go now.
Okay.
Yeah. So it feels surreal right now because 3 years ago I was thinking, how am I going to go through this? How am I going to do this? After I signed up for it, I was thinking, am I going to be able to do this? Because the art still calls for, my service. But I tried to, juggle the two. And eventually, looking back right now, it's been a great journey. It's been a learning curve, and I appreciate everything that I learned from there.
What was it like to head GIMPA as an SRC president?
I didn't go to school to pursue student leadership, but before I would finish, a friend on campus approached me, and then, a few people approached me and asked if I would want to go for president of SRC because they needed me, if I would accept, to use whatever I have in terms of reach and everything else to make sure we bring some vibrant action into GIMPA SRC, because the stereotype about GIMPA is that we're like a serious institution where it's all about books. But yeah, we have some fun on campus.
Okay.
So I thought through it, spoke to a few people, close circle people, and then they said, you know what, there's always an opportunity to take on a challenge, and then, learn something from it. So why not? And then eventually it happened. I won the elections, and then I became president.
Was it cool chop?
It wasn't, because I had to do campaign like everybody else. I decided to make sure I don't ride on what I think I have, but rather make sure I involve myself and do whatever it takes and whatever a politician should do to, run for an election. So I did the regular campaign, went to hostels.
Door to door?
Yeah, door to door, went to classrooms, went to hostels, got to vibes. Then eventually we got here.
It happened.
Yeah.
I asked the same question to Frank, so the same to you. What are some of the challenges that you were confronted with as a leader of students on campus?
Students' needs, students' hopes for a better, environment to learn and to network and to do everything. It's peak, and it doesn't reach the school administration as it should. So when you are the student's leader, you get to hear from the highest to the lowest complaints of students.
What was the most common complaint you were hearing from students?
Most of it is about fee increments and registration time lapse, how much time they have to register and who qualifies to register after a certain date and all of that, and how difficult it is. And most of it is based on how much fees you can pay before a certain period. So then it comes back to economics. And that's where the main problem is. People have issues with paying to, keep going to school.
Is it because the people don't have enough money, or the school doesn't give financial aid? What was the reason?
GIMPA is not a free institution, so obviously you're going to have to know what it takes to be in that institution, and then try and make sure you fund yourself through it. We have various scholarship programs that people who qualify for are able to access, but on a general, broad spectrum, it's you have to be able to fund yourself through. So personally, before I would even take on the office position, I had individual students approach me. Like, as an artist or as a people's person, you would have people who think you have or expect you would have to approach you genuinely for you to sort them out. So what I used to do was, or what I've been doing is, I look at your academic performance, I look at what kind of student you are. If you're a straight A student and you're doing good, then you can't pay your fees. I do it for you low key and nobody knows about it. But on a bigger spectrum, the students need a certain, aid to be able to help people who are able and can't afford.
Okay.
So I as part of the things I did in my during my term, I launched the Oniapa Fund, which is aimed at supporting able but needy students to go through school. So my allowance as a president, everything that I'm supposed to earn is going towards that as the seed money, and then I'll put a bit more in there, and then everybody that likes that idea will get the opportunity to put something in there, and then it's going to run so that if we have straight A students in GIMPA who need financial aid to get through school, they will be able to access that fund.
Okay. Any regrets so far?
No.
None?
No, none.
Frank, how about you?
Oh, none.
Is your term also running out soon?
For me, our election will be in July.
Okay.
In July. So
and then you hand over when?
after end of semester. So
Okay.
somewhere in September.
Okay. And Samini, yours ends in
Yeah,
how
yeah,
many?
just around the same time. Election will be around the same time.
Okay.
But I think my last paper in school is May 29th.
Okay.
Yeah, that date has always been on my mind because I can't wait to finish.
You have to put your music on hold, right?
Yeah, but I couldn't put it on hold.
No, you
I
couldn't.
tried to,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I couldn't because the art keeps calling.
Calling.
That's why sometimes I take break off school to go to do shows here and there. But I try and send the right emails to the right people, make sure I get the right permits before I go out.
All right. Frank, we're talking about the involvement of youth in. I asked him what was on his mind, and he said, listen, he wants to see more young people getting involved in the governance of the country. You can respond to that, but I also want to know what's on your mind this morning, because that's a tradition we have here. When you come to talk about the news, you can also speak about what's on your mind. That doesn't necessarily have to be in the news. So yeah, you can riff off the youth issue or speak about what's on your mind as well this morning.
What's on my mind this morning is trying to make it to Kafri Day's show. So I was trying to make the traffic and be here. But, about the youth being involved, it's something that's always been, an inspiration for me. because I always say that if you don't run for president, by the time someone is running for president, you used to pop champagne with some 15 years ago in the club who has decided to take on the challenge. So it could be you among those circles. So wherever you find yourself, whoever you are, just know it could be you, because whoever is in the seat was with someone just like you are with someone today. So get on board, try know what it takes, and then see if you can, and then take on the challenge. So the youth should be more involved in what it takes to run, a country, so that we will get more and more. And I think there are more woke youth now who are leaning towards a positive governance rather than a corrupt governance. I see youth who would want to see somebody do what the money that was given to him was meant for, rather than, use it for other corrupt means. And then, I have learned what procurement means after becoming SRC president.
Really?
So then I know that tenders have to, go, and then people have to decide on which document fits what we're trying to do, and which expenditure makes sense before it's finally approved, so that nobody gives contracts to people backdoor with personal interest here and there. So all of these things, youth are becoming woke about. So if the right people get into the right offices, and we're able to fish out old corrupt people who are used to doing things backdoor and now have become accustomed with that and think that's the way things are done, we will have a better run.
All right. Hey, those are the thoughts of Samini and Emmanuel Andrew Samini, SRC President Keeper, and Frank Owusu, SRC President, KNUST. They're my guests on headlines this morning. And talking of headlines, these are the headlines in the papers. Daily Graphic: swoop on breakdown vehicles. National Road Safety Authority and MTTD act towards a crash-free Easter. Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service. They want to act on that. The Opuni trial to start afresh. High Court judge rules after 6 years. Wow. President has sworn in 5 ministers and deputies, as well as some judges also into office. Pharmacy Council is going to clamp down on drug hawking. It's the back page of today's graphic. It's right there. And local vaccine manufacturer receives a $5 million grant. That is good news. So, all right. So it's DEK Vaccines Limited. They've gotten some good Lucci there. $5 million grant. Last week, 2 weeks ago, that would have been like 5 times, so 60. Now the rate has come to like 11, so it's like 55 million. Our city is appreciating, which is good news. Okay, Norway Supreme Court dismisses appeal case against Ghana. Trade unions and others kick against new tax laws. And the ECOWAS, the Economic Community for West African States, has moved to address human protection challenges, page 4. And then Tema customers owe Ghana Water Company 140 million cedis. Tema people, make it pay up, we beg. Otherwise, there may be some action similar to the ECG action that is happening as we speak. The Finder, sad news here, immigration officer shot dead, 2 others in critical condition, and tourism to attract 1.2 million arrivals, generate $3.4 billion in 2023, says Dr. Awal, the tourism minister. Frank, which of these headlines catch your eye this morning? And of course, yesterday too, there was another State of the Nations address from the New Patriotic Party, and we'll be having a conversation on that later on today. But which of these headlines catches your attention?
The one on the grant that the local pharmaceutical company has been able to win.
Exactly.
I mean, R&D is the new normal.
Research and development.
Research and development. I mean, the fact that, and this brings me back to the issue of education. If not for education, if not for the fact that this man has been able to establish a firm, that they go into research and they've been able to get this grant, I don't even think this amount of money will be given him. I mean, I don't know where he decides to look at it, but from any angle he decides to look at it, this is a good news. One, we are getting some dollars even coming into the system.
Yeah, man.
Which will go a long way to cushion some families. It will help the system, will help the economy. So spending money on education is never wasted. So we should be able to invest more in education, and the rippling effect that will come, we have no idea. We have countries that they don't have gold, They don't have even half or quarter of the resources that we have naturally. All they have is education. They've invested so much in education, and look at what they are enjoying life. So the point is that if you invest in education, and one thing is the education doesn't deplete the environment. I mean, natural resources, whenever you're extracting them, there is the potential of the environment being depleted. But this is free money with 0% environmental pollution. So it brings me back to my initial conversation. Let's invest more into education, and we get a lot more of these grants coming into the system. Second is the issue of tourism. As a country, we have to take a critical look at tourism once again. Yes, we look at all other sectors of the economy, but tourism is one sector that can rake in a lot of revenue for the nation. And we have a lot of tourist sites in the nation. I think as a nation, we haven't taken so much look at our tourism sector. I stayed in Cape Coast for a while, and if you go to some of the castles there, these places, we don't even maintain them well. I mean, with the exception of the known ones, the Elimina Castle and the Cape Coast Castle, we have the Fort Williams in Anomabo and other castles that if you maintain these areas and advertise these areas well, people will come here and they will be able to pay and we get a lot of money. A country like Rwanda, they saw the benefits they can get out of tourism. And what did they do? They actually made an industry out of tourism, even to the extent that you go to Arsenal, they are bad, visit Rwanda. You go to PhD, they are bad, visit Rwanda. So even if somebody sees visit, what is there? Let me go to Rwanda. When they go, they definitely are going to spend. When they spend, there will be money into the economy to go a long way to cushion the economy. God has gifted us these tourist sites freely. All we have to do is to package it well, is to brand it well, is to advertise it well, and to invest into it. And believe you me, the amount of money we will get, we have no idea. For me, I believe that we have a lot of areas we can invest in to get money without we depleting the natural environment.
All right. Samini, what's on your mind this morning? I mean, from the headlines there, which of the ones I read came
Well, from what you read, because of what I just did yesterday on campus, I was at GA yesterday to read the state of the SRC address, and then also swear in some executives. So the topic about swearing in a few executives by the president is what caught my mind. And I think that the process it takes to actually get people to qualify, get the qualified people to be sworn in, it's not easy. It's not an easy task. I learned that, yesterday at GA, knowing that certain people that you think would fit certain positions have to qualify as per the provisions of the Constitution for these appointments. So I think what the president has, put in front of the parliament will be approved, because it's not an easy task. It's going to go through scrutiny, and people are going to call out people's qualifications and people's non-qualifications.
They did that. They did it already, and he just basically swore them in.
All right. So then, if you basically swear them in, and things that red flags that are meant to be, taken care of or looked at are ignored, then there are, things issues.
This will come up to you because you nominated them.
Exactly. So I had to pull back certain things yesterday due to the fact that certain people were called out about certain qualifications that were needed before they would be or should be allowed.
So you withdrew some of your nominations?
Yes, yesterday. So that topic brought me back to yesterday, and I was thinking, so should that happen, is the president going to pull some people back? If not, then it means that he has done what I probably should have done before the final list of people that I presented yesterday happened, because certain people were caught by, for instance, somebody was caught by the fact that you have a few months to finish, but you need at least 2 semesters to qualify. I didn't see that particular fine detail, but it was caught, and it was important, and it was critical for a GA member and it had to be considered.
So from what you're saying, it's important that before the president or any leader puts out somebody as a nomination, they must really go through their background.
Exactly.
So that they are not
and
caught
then
up
check
elsewhere.
the provisions of the constitution, check what the person you want to put there, the person, check what it takes for a person to be in that position, and then see whether your shortlist, any of them, has everything. If not, you consult your executives and then try and get the right person.
Okay, Frank, any comments on that?
While Samini was talking, I was also thinking through what I went through. I mean, in KUS, usually what happens, I think it is quite similar to what goes on in the national level. So you present your nominees, and then they go through a parliamentary vetting. We have a parliamentary council in KUS whereby you go through a parliamentary.
Like what they do in Parliament.
Exactly that. So there is a vetting committee, a nomination committee, whereby I present my list to them, they vet them, and then when they are able to pass, they come and then I swear them.
Do people lobby you like the way they lobby people?
So what happens is usually when at end, when you are campaigning, you have a team of people you are campaigning with, and during the course of the campaign, you are able to identify the qualities of every individual. So even before you finish, in mind who you think you will give what.
But still, the lobbyists will come.
Yeah, of course, it's come.
Somebody knows who.
It's funny when you talked about lobbying, because I'm just about to, leave office, and I know a few individuals on campus who want to, succeed me. Yeah. And I've had people send me WhatsApp messages. It's nice, but I would want to watch it like the World Cup. If you're watching me here and you're trying to run for president for Gimpa, I want to watch it like the World Cup. I don't have a favorite. I'll watch it like the World Cup without my country qualifying.
That's
so
all.
I just chill. But may the best candidate win.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. So that was it.
For me, I can't say I don't have a favorite. But I won't mention my favorite.
Okay.
I won't campaign for my favorite, but I hope my favorite
will win.
wins. Because
You do have a favorite. You do have a favorite.
He has a favorite. He said, but he won't mention the name.
Yeah. Which means he has a succession plan.
No, you see, if
He
you are
has a
leader
succession
and then you
plan.
are building something, you are praying that somebody comes and the person continues.
Yeah.
It's sad if you sacrifice so much as a leader, and then you build a very solid foundation only for somebody to come and the person messes the whole thing up.
The reason I don't have a favorite, I'm not cutting you, is the fact that the short list of people that have stepped up are competent people that have served in my administration directly and indirectly. I know these individuals, and I know every one of them would be able to continue what I'm doing, and I'll be happy to shake hands with every one of them, each one of them, if any one of them wins.
Okay.
So it's like it's a fun game for me now to see who makes it.
Watch it like a World Cup without Ghana.
Who does it without Ghana? Yeah.
So you're relaxed. No heart attack issues.
Yeah.
Finish.
Sure.
Yeah. So your heart will be pumping because you want your person to win.
So
Yeah.
see, that's the point. For me, nobody running the elections from my team. In KUSC, the politics there is so tense to the extent that whenever they even realize that you have a favorite, even if the person is good, the person will lose.
What's
I don't know.
you have your MDC, MPP.
Just going to test there, but then
Just gonna test.
Just going to
Entertain.
But even in KUSC, if you are aligned to any of these parties, you lose. The students are quite discerning. Yes, they will always want a neutral person who wouldn't necessarily be controlled by any of these parties.
Somebody, do you have that kind of cleavage there?
Yeah.
on campus? How do you walk that tightrope?
I learned that when I decided to go to university, I realized that the parliament that's going on the national level starts at the SRC level.
For real?
Yeah,
And it's ruling government versus opposition.
Yes.
on the ground. I am a neutral person, but I have seen how strong it is, and it's interesting because I've identified serious politicians who I know right from there, who I know I'll see in the next 10 years doing serious stuff.
You can see them.
Yeah, this one right here.
This one,
I see.
you mean that? But how about you? So how about you?
Yeah. The small I see for Gimpa, I think after SRC, I just go concentrate on my music and my farming and my other things.
The music and the family.
Yeah.
That's all.
By
By the way, what are you studying at
Project management.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Project
Awesome.
management.
A couple of weeks and then you are done.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Maybe so. You're watching GTV Breakfast. I'm hanging here with Sumini and Mr. Usu, both presidents. The first of Gimpa, the second of KNUST. And your messages are coming in on 055 556 1034. Thelma, is going to be reading the messages for you. Thelma, and by all, you know, the messages are your responsibility, okay? We just have vessels. I don't like go court. So, yeah. Thelma, over to you.
Go on, Ikam. Good morning, Your Excellencies. Welcome to the table. Our screen is live and active, and comments are coming in thick and fast. This one says, good morning, GTV Breakfast Show. Your program concept, format, and panel section are very refreshing. I really admire the participation of KNUST and GIMPA SRC president on the show today. So kudos to you. Question, someone is asking if they read general art, can they pursue BSc in mathematics? So if they didn't do elective maths, can they do that? Well, me, I ran from elective maths and I have or anything to do with mathematics. I'm heading in the opposite direction. As a president of the SRC, are you speaking to the Faculty of Building to use your SRC dues to put up hostels in partnership with your bankers? Alhaji Dauda is asking from Medina Estates. I wonder which of the excellencies is addressing.
Accommodation issues.
Yeah, so KNUST, we actually welcome public-private partnership. And we also have build or pay transfer. So actually, if there is a bank or there is any estate organization that believes that they want to come and build on campus, they can come and see our management and be more than willing to.
Alaji, you have your answer. More questions and comments on our screens. The SRC president is 100% right. And students, all those places he mentioned is far away from campus and their prices are even higher than AUDRC, which is close to campus. Chris Marfo has some personal experiences to share here at the screen. Economic woes is what this one is. I really don't get it. We all know that we need money to salvage the current economic woes of the country, and thank God Parliament has passed 3 revenue bills awaiting presidential assent. So why all these brouhaha? Let me see if there are some new ones. Yes, I see some on top. Good morning. Paramount Chief all come inside. CAF.
Oluke Alavla Okitipo, the third. Paramount Chief of Aposukubi Traditional Council.
Very good. Clap for yourself. You see, if I can't mention it, it's not way. Someone is sending love to Saminio. Like the panel today, an academic from KNUST and a visionary leader from GIMPA, and he said it's all, quote, if you want to lead, observe and follow the leaders. Big ups to Mr. Samini. We love you to the max. When people take pictures, they put you run away because who knows? Come on, Breakfast Show. An entrepreneur, Abdul Razak Manambu. What's your message for the team this morning? You haven't said that quite yet, so I can go
yourself to you.
Okay, pleasure to meet you. Thank you for joining the Breakfast Show.
It's a national shout out, you know.
International shout out. It's a good one. Self-introduction. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. It's all around the world.
Free
it's on
advert.
DSTV.
Free advert.
Yeah, man.
Musa Abattoir Swanse is talking school feeding. He says, come on, school feeding program. They cannot pay. They cannot pay teachers. They cannot pay pensions. They cannot, lecturers? But they can only pay somebody and somebody and somebody. So I've read your message. But if you say it nicely, I'll read it all. Good morning. Why do I think this is Aaron? You cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different results. There is clear evidence that there has been hikes in the price of goods and services. And we keep complaining that there are no good paid job opportunities in the system, no better economic environment for entrepreneurs to strive in, and what have you. This is the time for us to ask our eligible politicians, where do they get their money for their political ambitions? Why can't they translate their political spending pattern to the creation of small-scale enterprises for their local community, but rather on billboards, posters, flyers, etc. And of course, it's Aaron Babakuko Komisa with that very lengthy one. What's supposed to unify us has rather created strong animosity, and what's supposed to bring economic development or growth has rather created economic gaps in the system. He says that with or without the IMF deal, the government must roll out the 1D, 1F within all districts, but not selected ones. Aaron, so quite lengthy ones.
Alaji will hear you speaking fast like that and he won't blame you. But
Alaji will say, slow down.
Alaji will say, me, I for slow down.
But you see, I'm reading it slowly.
Yo, Alaji.
Why do you want to come between Alaji and my understanding? Government is not collapsing private sector because other parts of the world, they use taxes to develop their country. So NDC leaders should stop blaming the. Okay. Do I have time for a bit more? I think I do. Come on, I have a friend in Gimpa. I mentioned Samini's name and she was like, who is he? Hey, so how do students in Gimpa not know their SRC president? The person is a hater. Haters. Who doesn't know? I mean, if you don't know Samini, at least you know Samini for somewhere. Maybe don't do that. Me, that's I know they like. Person there, then you go talk to who be him. Just say that. Oh, okay, all right. But don't. Frank, Flower is coming to you. I find your guest Franco so interesting in his ideas. Can you give his phone number? Should we give your number to some people? Who knows? Maybe you might get a few suggestions. Being an SRC president is serious business, and just like Samini said, to be very successful, neutrality is key, because aligning yourself to a political party will surely corrupt your plans. Nice conversation this morning. Perhaps the last one from Mr. Faye. Good morning, BFS. Please ask these presidents what's their take on political parties funding SRC elections. Wow, that's a big one. From the screen, I'll hand it over back to you, Kaf and the Excellency.
Yeah, I'll start with you, Samini. What do you think about political parties funding SRC elections?
With my experience during my election, I didn't have a political party fund me to, do my campaign or whatever. But I know that there's a strong presence of the political parties on the students' politics grounds, where whatever you see on the national level in terms of who is ruling and who is opposition trickles down to the student politics parliament, which I have witnessed and I know. But as to funding, I have not experienced it.
Is this expensive to run for SRC president?
No, it's not. What it would cost you, I think, would be your time and your energy, which you would have to also invest that into it.
Same question. I mean, political parties funding SRC elections.
It's something I've frowned at. But the reality is that I don't know about GEMPA, but KNUST is very expensive. Very, very expensive.
Yeah, because you have to go to all those hostels, right?
You see,
it's a big institution.
It's 100,000 students.
Get some logistics, and sometimes you have to organize some programs to get the attention of students to do tutorials and all that. So it's quite expensive. But as I said, I frown at these things because I think it was Thomas Sankara who said the hand that feeds you controls you. And as student leaders, we should be objective as we can ever be. Usually when we have these political parties funding you, they tend to control you to a large extent, to do their bidding and all that. Sometimes it clouds your sense of judgment. So I would always say that I will go by the stand that we shouldn't encourage political parties sponsoring candidates for SRC positions.
Okay, we're coming to the end of this conversation. I'm just wondering, with Samini, so with GIMPA, is accommodation issue as well? Because he said with tech, it's crazy.
GIMPA is a non-residential
100%.
institution. Yes, okay. So we have a few hostels. I mean, we have accommodation on campus, but it's mainly a non-residential institution. Yes.
All right. So, as you're winding down your term, what's the plan?
Personal plan or plan for the SRC?
Yeah, plan for you as a leader of the SRC.
We've had some challenges as an SRC. I've always been telling my people that if you look at 5-10 years down memory lane, the SRC will be having depletion in our power. So one thing I really want to do before I leave office is I want to establish the leadership framework of the SRC. Such that we don't have people coming into office doing things discretionally. They do things according to their whims and caprices. Because there are so many things that people do discretionally, and sometimes we end up having issues with it. So I want to establish a system so robust such that whenever you come, you don't even need to be extraordinary before you are able to perform. The system has already been established. The modus operandi of the SRC has already been established. And any ordinary person, quote unquote, to fit into it and to perform and succeed as an SRC president. Build the leadership framework of the SRC.
Someone can't wait to hand over.
That's the difference. I can't wait to hand over, but it's been an interesting journey. It's been a learning curve, like I keep saying, and I would want to leave behind, a structure, a system that can be maintained, so that the SRC will be something that will be worth emulating, because we came to inherit a system that we try to improve on. And from what I see, from where I sit, I think that we have quite a system that the students that we're leaving it for will be able to run and then also further improve.
Which of, I know you said KNUST falls under the Apiril constituency. With GIMPA, which of the constituencies?
We are with Wagon, yeah.
Oh, well, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
That's a massive, all the way from, East Legon, all the way, it's massive. Yeah. And so do the politicians come to campus?
No.
They don't?
No. Maybe they do under G. Some of them are, students on campus and stuff. So if you see them around, it's just expected. But we don't see people, waving flags of, politics here and there. Yeah, it's not visible like that.
All right. The next conversation that will be happening here is the NPP's response to the NDC's Sona, the True State of the Nation's address. Mr. Richard Hiaba is the Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party. He'll be here pretty soon. I mean, the stuff that happens on the national platform, do you have discussions on these issues on campus?
A lot.
Yeah?
We have to school up thing, that's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a scaled down version of what goes on at the national level.
Okay.
So the test the team members, all they do is to discuss what goes on at the national level.
All right.
So I think on their platform they are doing this every day.
Every day, yeah.
Maybe with the exception of examination period, but they are always doing this. And then funny enough, sometimes when these banter on the national level, we even have test content also presenting their own part of it.
Okay.
So let's say NDC brings a news concerning how they claim government is mismanaging education, and then TESCON will write a communique, TESCON KNUST, responding to what NDC has said, and then TEN will also do it. So you follow them on their social media handles, and they are defending their mother organizations, their mother parties.
All right.
Yes,
okay.
they do it.
The big conversations when the former vice president the current vice president of the US was here last week was the whole LGBTQ plus conversation. Did you have such conversations on campus?
Yes, we did. We did.
Okay.
We did.
How vibrant were these conversations?
Yeah, as vibrant as you can think of, and I think the sentiment of the students is one that reflects the sentiment of the majority of the population in the nation. The fact that we have our own values, we have our own systems. Yes, somebody may say that in future it may come. The future is not here, so why do we for the future to come? That has been the sentiment. So we are a sovereign nation, we are an independent nation. Our nation is built on our culture, on our values, on our norms. Yes, culture is bound to change because culture is dynamic. Traditions can change in future, but until we get to the future, let's maintain what we have today.
So, you think you get this feeling that the stronger Western powers are trying to push some agenda on Ghana and Africa? You get that feeling?
See, much as it's not funny, anytime the topic comes up, it's a funny topic. People like on campus when it comes up, we laugh. It's like, but I don't like you're asking. I haven't thought to that extent yet, but I believe that much as Africa as a continent wants to develop, we need to pay attention to more serious issues. If we're trying to form laws that will make us act a certain way, we should look towards corruption and look at the laws that govern corruption and see how we can tighten them and make them so firm that if someone mismanages our money, we will be able to deal with that person instead of looking at what to do to someone who wants to do something in their room behind locked doors. What I would say is that because even the normal ways of doing things as humans and the normal ways of being sexually involved with as humans, it's not allowed to be in public, and we as humans don't even sing and shout about it that, okay, here we go, I want to go and do this, so this is me and this person, this is us. I believe whatever it is that you're into, mind your business like I've been minding mine. Why and how does it have to be something that has to be discussed and then a special law carved for it? And then I think it's too much energy being spent on that social side of people when there are serious economic problems that need laws that are going to make sure people are in line. Yeah, so I would say we should spend more time on serious issues.
Put more energy into more serious issues.
Yeah.
Frank?
Personally, I tend to hold a contrary view because I think that even with the laws on corruption and all, we even have more of them. They are all in existence. We even have them in abundance. It has to do with the implementation of those laws. We have the
calling out people who are not, sticking to these laws. That time, that energy, those hours that is being used to discuss that thing that person came and asked you, what do you think about if this guy and this guy does this, and you people are not happy about what is it? When there are still serious issues that haven't been dealt with and haven't been passed yet.
But some of the personal, I think that what we do as a nation on a daily basis is to think about and talk about and discuss how we punish people who do wrong. The LGBT conversation is a seasonal conversation. It comes once in a while, we discuss it, goes away.
I think it's been going on for quite a while.
Oh, but I think it was
comes
when,
and goes,
it
but
was
it's there.
when the
It's there.
US vice president came. And became a topical issue at a point to go. I think as a nation, what we do on a daily basis is to discuss corruption, economic issues, how to build a buoyant economy, how to punish. We have been doing all these things. I'm saying this because, you see, talking about legislating a law, I wouldn't want to say that I want us to do it compulsorily, but then I don't want to turn a blind eye to it. Because if it becomes legal, now, as it stands now, because it's not legal, you cannot go and do an advertisement as a gay person or say a lesbian and all that. You cannot mount billboards that are LGBT inclined in nature because there are laws against it. If it becomes legal, then we open the floodgates, then we expose people. Because sometimes there is a saying that when padlocks are not made to prevent thieves from stealing, but rather they are made to prevent people from being tempted. So sometimes you close your door, sometimes you wear a cloth. I mean, our females, they dress because they don't want to tempt males. Ordinarily, somebody can decide to walk naked, but then you wear something not to tempt the good person, because a bad person, whether you wear something or not, the bad person will still do whatever he wants to do. So we have good people in the system. We are supposed to do things to prevent them and protect them from being tempted to do what is wrong. I think that is what the law seeks to do, not necessarily forcing somebody not to do something.
We will pause on that for a while, go to Bazooka Bridge, and then come back and end the show. So, our man Jay Gabra is out and about on the Keep an Eye segment of this show, and he has a report that he wants to give to us this morning. It's the risky nature of the Bazooka Bridge at Ashaiman, Jericho. Ashaiman is the place of 1,000 names from all around the world. Jericho is one of them. And Jay is at Jericho on the Bazooka Bridge. Jay, good morning. Welcome. Fill us in, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kafui. Good morning, all. You're still watching hashtag GTV Breakfast. Welcome to the Keep an Eye segment. Like you rightly said, we are here at Jericho, the link between Jericho and Freetown here in the Ashama municipality, here to talk about the risky nature of the Bazooka Bridge. As to why it is named so, I have no idea, but it's quite fascinating, isn't it? This is the state the bridge that links Jericho to Freetown. You notice that for some time now, it has received some wear and tear, and most of the pillars underneath the bridge are completely shorn off. So you realize that while you're walking on the bridge like these people are doing at the moment, it's quite shaky and rickety. So it means that at any moment it can come down. I don't know how they are brave and bold enough to walk across this each and every other day. There's a school just across the bridge, and you can imagine that for the school children, when they are coming to school or perhaps they close and they have to cross this bridge and it is raining or it is very windy, for a year they become very shaky, they become quite afraid. They are not certain if they can even cross the bridge. Unfortunately too, there's a new one that was started, but work stopped with no explanation given. And then the residents were complaining about how small it is. But if you look at this bridge, I'll try to compare it to one at the far end. You realize that one is quite bigger, and the vehicles are able and such. That one is way at the back, and you notice vehicles crossing it at the moment, and that's what residents were asking for in this area, because you notice with this one it's quite small, and unfortunately because of that people have taken advantage of that to drop their rubbish into the drain. So when it rains, it becomes quite a dangerous situation for them. So they are saying once the bridge is wide and the new one that's under construction, if they make it as wide as the one at the far side, then when the Aboboyas come, they can blow their horns and help people gather their refuse and pick it up and take it to the dump site itself, not leaving it in the drain like you see at the moment. Quite an untenable situation here on the bridge between Jericho and Freetown. I have some of the residents here with me who would like to say a few words. Mr. Lawan, what happened? Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to hashtag GTV Breakfast. So I beg, you offend somebody?
No, we not offend anybody.
Then what's happening here?
Okay, so this by a man called Te Bazooka since 2010.
Oh, his name is Te Bazooka.
Te Bazooka.
Oh, okay.
So after the construction, it was a heavy downpour in 2010 that collapsed the old bridge, and he constructed this new one. So what happened is the bridge has like 4 pillars. The middle pillars has been washed away by frequent rains. So now we look at the bridge, we have only 2 pillars which is holding the 2 ends. And as it stands now, the next rain or heavy rain that will come, I'm sure the last one here was so good. And when it go down, it will be a disaster for us.
Have you not spoken to authorities about it? I see that they're even starting a new one here. What's the story here? Why have they stopped? And what's this that we are looking at?
Yes, we spoke to the MP, which is Ernest Nogbe. He came there, he wanted to construct a new footbridge for us. But the residents here are saying that because if they are doing anything concerning about renovation of the houses, they need to pour their material somewhere and ask people to carry it along. So if you are, let's say you are buying chippings for, let's say, 1,000 Ghana cedis, those people who carry it across to the area will also charge you 1,000 cedis. So anything that you are going to do will be double charges. So because of that, the MP came there, wanted to construct this bridge in January. He came to do these 4 pillars and he left. And we've cried and we've asked him, he said he has paid the money to the contractor, and the contractor cannot be found anywhere. We've done our part, but we are not seeing him on foot.
So what's the way forward now?
The way forward is to report to, like the way we reported to GTV. At least when they see this on, how do you call it, on screen, they will know that yes, the people are very serious now, because this bridge, the next 2 rains, I'm not sure we'll have this bridge again. And almost 2,000 students cross this bridge daily, because there are almost 10 schools at Jericho, and there are other schools around here, let's say 5. So it is vice versa. People cross every day. You can see how people are crossing the bridge, and
it's very, very shaky.
Very shaky. When you are walking on it, it's just like Kakumba way. It will be dangling around like that. So that's what we are facing now.
Kakumba Zuka, that's the situation right now. So make one final appeal to your MP so that they can fix this as soon as possible.
Okay, Honorable Ernest Dogbe, we are pleading with you. We are on our knees because this thing is very serious. People are crossing this bridge, and you came here yourself, you saw it. You came to do press conference here as if, but you are not seeing it. We are pleading to you. Talk to the MC so that we will get something better in this area, because the area we are suffering.
Sorry, just before I leave you, I see this barrier or steel bar in the middle of the bridge. What's that for?
The steel bar over there was just for a support, and as it stands now, it is very weak. It is very weak.
But the support is in the bridge.
Yes, because there was a pillar, there was 2 pillars in between, and the pillars have collapsed.
Okay, so that's what the steel bar. I see. Let me just speak to one more person, and then we can wrap up on the Kakumba Bazooka Bridge. Boss, morning.
Good morning, sir. My name, Just Listen.
Just Listen.
Yeah, Ali, Just Listen.
Oh, okay, Mr. Ali. So I beg, what you get to?
Our cry now is we are pleading to the Honorable MP, Mr. Nogbe, to be on his heels so that he can call this contractor to come and at least start a job for us. We, the indigenous of this area, we are facing a massive problem because when it starts raining, you don't know how to go about. And when it starts raining, you don't know how to go about. Some of us have to leave our homes, come and stand by for if maybe some children will be falling inside the gutter. This is our senior brother who did this for us in 2010, that's Bazooka. It collapsed, and then he did this second one, and then it's at the verge of collapsing again. So we don't know subsequent rains. Any moment this bridge can collapse. So we are pleading to everybody to support Freetown so that we can hold this our bridge well.
So the people of Freetown and Jericho are calling for their freedom concerning the Bazooka Bridge. It's very dangerous. It's quite untenable, especially with kids who are crossing. Lawan said about 1,000 kids cross this bridge each day, not forgetting the grown-ups themselves. The situation, they need help, and they've appealed to the MP, and I also like to appeal to the local assembly to come to their aid as soon as possible. This is the Bazooka Bridge on the Jericho-Freetown Lake here at the Ashama Municipal Assembly. This has been the report from here. Back to you, Kafwe, and the studio.
Nice one, Jay, wrapping up the headlines with a really disturbing report from Ashaiman, which has so many names from all around the world. I mean, so many.
Yeah.
Freetown to Jericho.
The last one, just listing. The guy,
Ali,
the last
just
guy,
listing.
just listing. Pick up yourself, just listing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
man. And we for listen to
Freetown,
them.
just listing.
We for listen to them because these are the issues, right?
Yeah,
these are the issues.
We for listen to them. This bridge needs to be fixed, and these are the issues. This is what I was trying to say, that there's too many things to be talked about. There's too many things that need attention, so much so that I would not have time to want to even discuss someone's sexuality or what they want to do with it. That's what I was trying to boil down to. This imagine, a bridge like this somewhere else in any other country in the West can be, dated back to the 2010, the man said, and you can see the maintenance that has gone on till date. So what we lack is the maintenance culture, and I think it's an opportunity to tell Ghanaians, let's build maintenance culture. If you buy something, try and keep it and maintain it. Then you are guaranteed of some sort of longevity.
And we like the way you've maintained your career.
Thank you.
And up until now, more fire.
That's just
Emmanuel Andrews Samini is the SR president of GIMPA. I leave you the last word. Frank, what's your concluding 45-second concluding remarks?
Okay, thank you very much. As the interviewer rightly asked, what have they done wrong? They've done nothing wrong. As a nation, as citizens, we have done nothing wrong. All the should listen to us and solve our problem. That is what leaders do. Leaders solve problems. We are praying that we have more leaders who solve problems for humanity in our nation. It's been a nice time here. I want to say good morning to my Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Adesi. Mami, KNUST students, we say we love you.
Any shout outs to you, sir?
Shout out to the entire GIMPA administration, my rector, deputy rector, my dean, director of affairs, everybody, my entire administration. Yeah, long live GIMPA, your GIMPA, my GIMPA, our GIMPA. Ache.
From Frank and Emmanuel to Richard, who is the Director of Communications at the New Patriotic Party. It's a conversation on State of the Nation's address. Mr. Ntim had a lot of issues that came up yesterday, and Thelma will be sitting down with Mr. Ahiagba to do justice to the issues. There's conversations with Avit, and Airport View is 21 years old this year. My name is Kafri Day. I'm definitely more than 21. This is GTV Breakfast. Ache. Sa.